Welcome everybody back to another episode of Steehn versus Machine, week number 2. Scott, me versus you.
That's what they say. It's what it says in the title.
The Machine versus the professional handicapper.
Mm-hmm.
Scott,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, kind of the lead handicapper over there at Winners and Winers. Still really the marketing division leader, we call it, right?
Yes, sir. Can I tell you something funny about that?
Yeah.
Professional handicapper that I am, we did a group survivor contest with a lot of people on Discord and a lot of people on staff. And I believe I mentioned this last week. My best bet of the week was the only one that lost. Funny story. Not only did they not cover the 5 points, funny story from my Survivor series, they lost outright.
At the
So I already posted the Kramer meme slamming down the money saying I'm out. So,
or the a lot of people post that Simpsons gif of the grandpa walking into the bar, taking off his hat, walking in the circle, picking up his hat, opening the door, walking back out of the bar.
a lot of that too. Yes. So I had a great week, except for that minor detail. Oh, and I had my team that I drafted Josh Allen and named them the Allen Wenches. Thanks. You're welcome. I had a 9-point lead going into Monday night and had the defense and a receiver going up against Josh Allen, and I lose by 50 points. So 40 and change. So
I had the same situation with Sunday Night Football. I had CeeDee Lamb and Saquon Barkley, and I was up by 2. I was playing against the Dallas defense, and I lost by 14, I think. So.
Yep, that was the defense. That was the defense I went up against. And then I can't remember who went off. So maybe it was after Sunday action. Maybe it was before the Dallas game. That was it. It was after Sunday, but not Sunday night. So it was 1 versus 2. I had Allen going.
It's really awful stuff.
Anyway,
yeah. All right,
just awful. So,
you know what wasn't just awful, Scott?
Us. Shockingly enough,
we did pretty good. Just off
70%, 70%, bitches.
Scott, I went 3-2. You went 4-1. Again, to remind everybody of our picks, I had Cincinnati, Cleveland over 47.5. That did not cash. Cleveland, Cincy looks terrible. Looked terrible that opening week. 24-3. I think that final score.
You got weathered there, brother.
That's true. It was, but I don't know, man.
Well, that's the problem. When we record the show, we don't have a complete look at what the weather's going to do. So
hard to blame all of that on weather. I don't know if you watched that game. It wasn't exactly a great performance by the Bengals on any front. But
I was watching Red Zone and kept waiting for highlights of that one because I was kind of watching your score for you, and you didn't get a lot of highlights.
No,
not a lot of live look-ins at the 10 in that game. So.
Yeah. The leading receiver, I think, had 50 yards. The leading receiver for the game had like 51 yards. T. Higgins, 0 yards. Awful.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. So, yeah, that was your 2 losses. I had the Falcons to cover 3.5 against Carolina.
Well,
struggling. Huh?
I'd only done my first one. That was just my...
Oh, that's right. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, let's talk about this one.
Yeah, sorry. I had the 49ers -2. Beat the hell out of Pittsburgh 30-7. Never a doubt. No, Pittsburgh.
I told you, I kind of like Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh in an upset spot there, and no, not so much.
No,
thought I went the other way.
Where I was totally off on Bears -1.5. They looked awful. It seems the Packers still own them. Bears fans pretty upset, I imagine, that they're still going to be like this. But not really much to say there. They look not good. Got everybody probably thinking about a rebuild, honestly.
Yeah, that's brutal.
4th pick of the week, I had the Dolphins money line. You took the +3, but I got the money line, and that cashed. They pulled it off there at the end. Never a doubt. I think they won by 3, right? It was the wrong. They won by 2. Because they missed the.
They were down. They were down 1 when he kicked the game winner. I was so rooting for that to miss, because we extolled the virtue of always take the money line when it's the less than 3 points, and it was right around that And we just about got burned out of the gate doing that, but it worked okay as he hit the game winner there, buddy, as time expired.
No, he kicked the field goal to go down one. Chargers win, kicked the field goal. They scored a touchdown with like 2 minutes left.
He scored what was the touchdown? I don't remember the touchdown.
It was Tyreek Hill's 4-yard touchdown.
Huh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I really thought they kicked the field goal to end it. My bad.
No, you're good. But yeah, no, I was getting worried. Well, and I was wondering if on the flip side is if you would have got the push at the +3, but no, they were down 4 before they scored that touchdown, so it wouldn't have worked out. But Scott, I also had the Eagles -3.5 there on Sunday afternoon. Speaking of a team that got away with choking, Eagles absolutely should choke that game away. I watched them fumble the ball inside their own 25 with about 4 minutes left, up 5. And somehow thank God the Patriots are the Patriots, and they did not score.
Yep, absolutely right. Eagles defense still pretty good.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, a lot of guys that we expected to have big seasons did not get off to a great start.
No.
Patrick Mahomes and his 230 yards or whatever at the end of the day looked pretty damn good.
Yeah. Pretty big slop fest that first week. But Scott,
not great. Yes.
You went 4 for 1.
Now 4 and 1. Yes.
4 and 1. 4 for 1. Be pretty good.
Had the wait, you be paying any 7 there, Truman? Falcons -3.5 against the Panthers. It was the battle of the young quarterbacks. I liked the guy in his second year versus the guy in his first year. We trotted out that stat about 1-1 quarterbacks being 0-13-1 straight up and 1-13 against the number. We can now update that to 0-14-1 and 1-14 against the number. Played that in real life, Truman. That worked out okay. A game I was worried about was that 49ers Steelers under 41.5. It started off 49ers marching up and down the field, and but everything calmed down there just enough, and they covered the number for you too. Then the one we talked about, the Vikings and Bucks, as Kirk Cousins looked like it was a Monday night game. Actually, he played fine. It wasn't really Cousins. It was just that defense couldn't do much. So
I think somebody posted his pace after this because we're recording this on Friday night, so we already saw the Thursday night game. Somebody posted Kirk Cousins' pace. He's on pace for like 61 or 6,200 yards and 51 touchdowns, and the Vikings are 0-2 to start the season. So
that's about right. So yeah, Brian Flores and the new defense there for the Vikings. Let's call it a whip. That's a work in progress right now.
Yep.
As you mentioned before, I did have the Dolphins plus the 3. Worked out well either way. And then, like you, I had the Eagles -3.5. And when Jalen Hurts fumbled that ball, just like you said, as they were going for the insurance cover score there. Yeah,
that would have really been heartbreaking if if Bill Belichick's like, well, you got to get points. It just kicks the field goal to lose by 2, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Well, that's not going to happen. But so that's but I definitely saw that one ending a different way, and it did not. So Eagles, good team. So
yep. So
all right,
for the week, that brings me to 3-2. I lost 220, but won 342. So that brings me to plus 122. Scott, you won 400. You lost 110. Brings you to plus 290 for 4-1. So, brings us on to the next week. Scott, winners go first.
Right. I could never keep that straight because when I was doing my show, it was losers walk.
Yeah. Right.
So, all right. Well, Truman, I'm going to start out with a team that you and I saw a little over a week ago, and that is the Detroit Lions as they open their home schedule up there in Ford Field against the Seahawks. Lions 4.5-point favorites. Truman, this Seattle offense did not look good at all. The Cinderella, the slipper, it may have struck midnight, is what I'm saying up there for Geno Smith. 16 to 26, 112 yards. Converted just 2 third down attempts, and that was it. That was not good at all. Plus, add insult to injury, or injury to insult if you prefer. Seahawks got real banged up in that game. They're going to be down their starting left tackle Charlie Cross, Jamal Adams, and what should shock nobody, still out. And you've got Bush and Maffey, your linebackers, both questionable for this game. So I think full strength against full strength, Seattle will be in trouble in this game, and they're not. Lions, let me tell you something. That crowd is going to be fired up. It's going to be probably the second most fired up crowd we're going to see this weekend. We're going to talk about the first most fired up in a minute. I'm going to let you take a guess. But for now, Ford Field going to be rocking, baby. Dan Campbell going to be biting some kneecaps, and the Lions are going to easily cover the 4.5.
That's interesting for me. We talk a lot of week 2 is the eye test from week 1. Lions, I don't know if they're good. They're probably good enough to do this. I feel like they're probably good enough to cover, especially with all the guys being hurt from Seattle. And speaking of the eye test, Seattle looked awful. But I do worry that the Lions aren't great, and they're used to letting their fans down. So it's going to be a rocking crowd, but it would be very Lions to then just get blown out by a Seahawks team that everybody thinks is dead in the water.
Well, defense was just about the worst in the league. Offense was just about the best in the league last year. Right. I think the gap is narrow between both of those. I think the offense is not as good, and the defense is much better. So, I think the Lions are good enough to win what appears to be a pretty wide open Norris division up there in the NFC.
All of a sudden,
they're decent. They're a decent team, and I think they're going to get it figured out. So, that's going to be my leadoff pick here, buddy.
Gotcha. My leadoff pick, sticking to the NFC North. I'm actually going the Packers money line, plus 110 right now, over the Falcons. I thought, as you know, the Falcons kind of won. Again, like we talked about, a lot of those games were ugly that first week. The Falcons won an ugly one too. They were, certainly not dominating the Panthers that entire game. But you know who did dominate their opponent? The Packers, man. The Packers looked really great there, and really happy to see the system kind of, it'll be a lot of fluctuation here at the beginning for the system, so we'll see how that kind of rocks and works. But I really enjoyed seeing the Packers play, and I'm happy that they picked the Packers over Atlanta here by just a little bit. So yeah, give me the Packers money line plus 110 over Atlanta.
Matt LaFleur is the coach. By the way, Truman, that is French for the Fleur.
It's one of my favorite. One of my favorite jokes is I always tell people, it's the same kind of thing where it's like it's Tres Hermanos. I was like, that's Spanish for 3 hermanos.
That's a stolen bit, right?
I assume so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Chris Farley SNL bit.
There you go.
He used to do that. The Spanish thing on Weekend Update. Yeah, it was very good. All right, so Truman, I told you I was going to ask you this quiz. What's going to be the most fired up crowd in the NFL this week?
Can I look at the schedule?
Sure. Go ahead. I assume you already looked at it making your picks, but maybe not.
I did look at it making my picks, but I'm trying to think of the most fired up crowd. Oh, it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys.
It is not. You're incorrect. It's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, I guess that's it. Really?
Jags have had this game circled since last January, and that crowd's going to be rocking. Chiefs are going to get everybody's best shot this year, but this is a little something extra. Down there in Jacksonville, buddy.
Looking for payback on a team while they're down.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely true. So I couldn't quite bring myself to take the Jags, although I think the Jags are a really nice play this week with the money line. I'm going to guess that money line somewhere in the neighborhood of plus 160. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
154.
I like the other.
Plus
154. Fuck, apparently I know nothing about sports. Under 51.5, my friend. Both of these defenses looked really good last week. Mm-hmm. Each of them gave up 21 points. However, as you well know, both teams also gave up a defensive score. the Kadarius Toney drop, and the Jacksonville had
A strip sack, weird, and then it was weirdly picked up. It was one of those where the offense, the Jaguars kind of kept playing like the ball was dead, and like they picked it up, and then the Colts guys were like, well, we might as well finish the play. And even though the Jags receiver picked it up, they like just knocked it out of the guy's hand, picked it up, ran it all the way back, and that's a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and of all the sacks that are like that weird kind of thing, that was one of the more obvious ones that was a strip sack. I was like, I'm pretty sure that is not, he did not throw that ball. And I'm
the running back
nobody thought that.
Running back's just like standing with the ball, looked like he's looking for a ref to give it back to. And the Colts guy just knocks it out of his hand, picks it up, and runs the inside. Oh, that's a touchdown. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, So both these teams gave up 14 points. Obviously, giving up 14 points to the Colts, probably not as impressive as giving up just 14 points to the Lions. But I think this is a solid defense. I think they're going to make Mahomes move around in the pocket, which, and it's what he does. He's fine. But I'm not sure both of these offenses are hitting on all cylinders like they will be a month from now. I think the defenses are ahead of the offenses for both of these teams right now, and I believe that 51.5 is a little too strong. I think that number. I make that number more like 49. Maybe.
You said you were going to sprinkle a little on the Jags money line. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I don't know if I will or not, but I think it's a good play for all you people out there using your own money. Yeah, I think it's a good play.
I just don't think so, man. I don't. I think the Chiefs are gonna. I think the Chiefs had a perfect storm of bad things happen last week. That I think not only was that a perfect storm of bad stuff. That they also got their second and third best players back. So.
Yeah, look, man, this is a team that gave Kansas City everything they wanted at home in the cold in a rocking atmosphere in the playoffs, and gave them every bit of all they wanted. And I think you get them in a home environment, in a revenge spot, getting points. I'm going to take those all day long. Sorry.
Against a hobbled Mahomes, though, I don't know. I think the Jags are getting there. I mean, I don't think they're enough to challenge the Chiefs yet. So,
we're going to find out because it's a very similar situation. You have two perennial terrible teams that big things are expected of. Both of them are kind of expected to win their division this year. And a very similar spot. We didn't do well last week in that spot. We'll see how we do this week in a hostile environment. Give me Chiefs Jags under 51.5.
Absolutely. My second pick of the week, Texans -1. Again, another rock fight in the AFC South, famous for rock fights. Give me the Houston Texans -1 at -110. And this is the opposite of the thing that we say. If I ever see you taking the money line on a favorite that's only favored by 1 or 1.5, we're going to throw hands. So always take them to cover the -1.
Tell us why. Tell us why.
Because because of the juice. If you take the Texans, the biggest thing, Texans -1 is the same as the Texans money line. The only thing that changes is that if they somehow tie, which will happen twice a year out of the 272 games that are played, then you'll get your money back. But you still don't win. So never play for the
back in the day, and even well into your lifetime, so not 100 years ago, when you bet with your local guy. And even with the books in Vegas, it was -1 both sides. There was no such thing as -1 + 1. It was -1 both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So there was this has kind of been a recent development that you even have that option. Take up to play 1 point or whatever. But what he's trying to say is you're going to lay -110 and lay the point. And you're going to lay, -103, or the other way around. Sorry, -118, 120, something like that. It's not worth the extra dime because ties. For that to be profitable, a tie would have to happen more than once out of 10 times, and obviously that is not what the math says. So that's your reason right there.
Yes, and other reasoning, I believe this Texans team. Again, this is an AFC South matchup. I think it's going to be an ugly, ugly game. It's going to come down to simply how good can each rookie quarterback handle the defense. I think the Texans defense is a little bit better than the Indianapolis defense. And although I will say I think Anthony Richardson maybe had a couple more promising moments than CJ Stroud in that first week, but they also played, I think, a better defense. So I'm intrigued by this. Again, I am somewhat a slave to the algorithm, and this is what they had. They had Texans -1. So Texans -1 is what you get. I like the odds of it because I think it'll be an ugly game, but it's certainly one of those games I don't want to watch all the way through, and I think I just want to check the score at the end.
I couldn't make myself play that. I thought Indy looked better than the Texans last week. If I was going to make a play, I'd play the other side. All right, my third pick is going to be another team that's was oddly decimated by injuries. And it's a team that always seems to be perennially injured in the defensive backfield. And that's the Baltimore Ravens. Bengals host Baltimore, a division rival. And Baltimore's going to be without their left tackle, their center, their safety, right cornerback. Mark Andrews still questionable after not playing last week. I wish Cincinnati was as bad as they looked last week. I got bad news for you, Truman. They're not. They're still a good team. Still got a ton of talent. I think they flex their muscles in this spot at home. I'll take the Bengals -3.
That's fair. I can't blame you there. I think the Bengals obviously are not going to be 21 points worse than the Browns this year. And I think it was just, again, a perfect storm of a good team looking bad last week. So I support you in that endeavor. My third pick, Scott, I have Seattle, Detroit over 47. Again, we talked about defenses that looked bad last week. Detroit's defense has looked improved, but I think they also benefited from a couple drops, especially late, from the Chiefs wide receivers. I think the Chiefs could easily put up 21-28 on them. Seattle got destroyed or got pretty well handled by that Los Angeles Rams offense, and I think the Detroit offense is a little bit better than that offense. So I'm excited to see probably a high-scoring game in this. I hoping Geno Smith bounces back, has a great game. Hoping Jared Goff continues to not throw interceptions. So yeah, I got the Seattle Detroit over 47 at -110.
All right, Truman. Moving on to pick number 4. This is going to be in the Jerry Dome, as you mentioned, another crowd that's going to be fired up because, they're happy about living in Texas. Who wouldn't be? The Jets come to town. Jets, Jets. It was a terrific 2 minutes and 15 seconds of football for Jets fans last week. I hope they enjoyed it. But in all seriousness, Zach Wilson started last year. Not awful, good backup. We'll see what he can do. He was good last week through a couple bad balls. But the main thing the Jets have been able to do, Truman, I'm going to take you back to, let's say, the mid-'80s. You want to win the Super Bowl, what are the 2 things you have to be able to do?
Play defense.
Play defense and
make field goals.
Run the football, Truman. You have to be able to run the football and play defense. And that's exactly what the Jets are going to have to do if they're looking to have any kind of success this year at all. Got off to a good start last week. They averaged a league best 6.1 yards per carry, using the two-headed monster Breece Hall and the newly acquired Dalvin Cook. Yep. The whole goal for this Jets team is going to be able to run early and often and effectively because they have to keep Micah Parsons and the rest of that ferocious Dallas pass rush off of young Zach Wilson. It's going to be an ugly night if they cannot keep the pocket clean and run the football effectively. Good news is I think they're going to be able to do it. Dallas run defense didn't look great early going against the New York Giants, and of course the dynamic of that game changed when the Giants went down in an early hole. So Brandon Cooks questionable, got a little knee problem there for Dallas. Let's gonna get you interested in Michael Gallup and Jalen Tolbert. Truman, there's your wideouts for Dallas. Yeah, I don't know, man. 8.5 points. That's a shit ton of points when you've got at least a good team, a fair team, and let's call the Jets average at this point against the Dallas team that I think is fine, but I don't think they're 40 points better than the Giants. I'll take the touchdown plus. Give me them Jets plus 8.5.
Ugh. I actually PointsBet has it all the way up to 9.5 for you. So I actually got you Jets plus 9.5. The difference between
Take it.
8.5 and 9.5, not a huge difference. But
I'll take 9.5 can come into play. I'll
yeah,
take that.
that's fair. God, I'm not a believer in this Jets team. I think I'm not sure. It's hard to predict blowouts. It's hard to pick double-digit wins in the NFL.
Yeah.
But I would call this one a prime candidate. I just don't know if I really believe in Zach Wilson. And man, did that Dallas defense make Daniel Jones' life a living hell. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, but again, I think it's hard to predict double-digit losses. So I certainly think the Jets could keep this within one score, and I think that's fair.
All right.
Brings me to my fourth pick. I have Las Vegas Buffalo under 47. Speaking of two teams that offenses look pretty bad, man, Josh Allen turned it over. We were talking about this in a group chat that we share with your buddy Ben. Our buddy Ben. We were talking about
Right.
Las Vegas Buffalo under 40. Or we're talking about Buffalo specifically. Talking about Josh Allen has had, was it 39 turnovers since that Chiefs Bills game?
It's almost 2 turnovers a game. I want to say it's like
Right.
1.9 turnovers per game or something ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it's.
He is a turnover, which leads the NFL by a wide margin, by the way.
Yeah,
In that period of time. So yeah, that's when he's bad, man, he can stink up the joint. He can really, really stink up the joint. And if he gets behind, he starts pushing, tries to start making plays. When he's good, he's really good. But my goodness, when he goes off the cliff, it looks like Josh Allen from 4 years ago.
Yeah. He turns into he has his own version of what I call world beater Mahomes, which is when Mahomes starts to do that thing where he's spinning around in the pocket 3 or 4 times and he ends up just chucking a ball, and you're like, oh my God, no! As we saw it in the at the end of this Cincinnati Chiefs AFC Championship game in 2020, at the end of the 2021 season in 2022. So very similar kind of thing. So you start to see that from Josh Allen. I'm thinking they'll be a little bit better, but I don't really either also believe in this Raiders offense. Didn't exactly blow me away against Denver. And I think this Buffalo defense can certainly give them fits. Give me the under 47 here.
Okay. I love that Raiders defense. I think Buffalo could hang 30 on them.
Yeah, but I still think the Raiders could only score 10. So.
Speaking of the Broncos and unders, if you played it last year, you probably have a new house, and that's exactly what we're going to do this year. Commanders at the Broncos, 39 is your number right there. Truman, who does Eric Bieniemy miss?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, and Andy fucking Reid. They did not do well last week. Averages 3.8 yards per play, 27th in the NFL, and that was at home against arguably the worst team in the NFL in your Kyler Murray-less Arizona Cardinals. Mm-hmm. Offensive line was capital D dreadful, Truman. Just dreadful. Sam Howell was in a waking nightmare. 6 sacks, could have been more. Good news is the Commanders' defense, really good. Limited the Cardinals' offense to just 3 field goals, 2 trips in the red zone. That's it. Broncos, on the other hand, like you mentioned, played the Raiders. Put up just 16 on a horrific Las Vegas defense that was among the worst in the NFL last year in many key matrices. Last year, Washington and Denver, first and second, respectively, in third down conversion percentage. Each of them top 10 in holding their opponents out of the end zone in the red zone. I think 39 is an absolute gift in this game. I will take your Denver Broncos and the Washington Commanders under 39.
Yeah, this has 17-7 written all over it. 17
all day or day.
Yeah, this is again a game you couldn't pay me to watch. My final pick of the week, Scott, here is Miami and New England. I'm taking the over 46 in that game. Man, I think this Dolphins offense could score 46 any week. I think they could go out there Tyreek Hill looks really good. I don't care. And Tua looks able to take advantage of that at least. I don't think Tua's the best quarterback in the NFL, but I think he certainly has dynamic playmakers there in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I can't say enough about that. And honestly, I heard the Jets guys giving Mac Jones a lot of props this week, saying that he made the right reads. He made a lot of good plays. And I mean the Eagles defense, sorry, not the Jets defense, the Eagles defense, giving a lot of props to Mac Jones, saying he made a lot of reads. He made a lot of really good plays. Gave him a little bit of a hard time. So, and that Eagles defense ain't no chumps, and they put up 20 points on him. I expect Miami to go out there, probably put up another 30 to 40 points again, and I expect that Pat's offense go out there, probably put up somewhere between 20 to 30, and 30 plus 20 is 50, and that's over 46. I like it. I'm expecting. Give me like Miami 34, New England 28. That's my final score prediction there.
All right, so
over.
You got alternate totals at your book. Jump all over that over 60 for plus 400 or so.
Easy money.
If you watch Tua, his accuracy is really improved. And you see it in his throwing motion, Truman, like a lot of left-handers, real loopy, brings the ball from down low, kind of loopy. They don't have the same snap, and you notice he's got his throwing arm in a little more vertical position, bringing it by a little closer to the ear, and his accuracy is improved. And he's like I said, he's probably not a top 5 quarterback. He may be top 10. And with the weapons that he has, he's damn good enough.
He's got a top 2 wide receiving core.
Oh, probably the fastest pair of wide receivers in the history of the NFL.
Yes, absolutely.
I would say that's very possible. So I don't hate that play. I don't hate that play at all. So all right, very good.
There you go. That's all 10 picks. Again, reminding my picks: Packers money line, Texans -1, Seattle, Detroit over 47, Las Vegas, Buffalo under 47, Miami, New England over 46. And Scott, your picks?
We're going to roll with the Lions -4.5, Chiefs, Jags under 51.5, Bengals -3, Jets plus 9.5, and the Commanders, Broncos under 39.
Absolutely. So that'll do it. Hey, we appreciate everybody for sticking around. Appreciate you coming back for week 2. We're positive, and we're going to stay positive.
Make that money for you. Make that money. Get that paper. Go chase that paper, Truman.
Absolutely. That's what I'm out here doing, Scott, every day, every week, week. Out here chasing that paper. Excited to get back into the swing of things, get back into a rhythm here with Steehn vs. Machine. Hey, we appreciate you guys for coming back, watching it this week, and we look forward to cashing those tickets with you. Scott, what do we do?
That's right. You guys get your money down. Play those picks. And at the end of the day, at the end of the weekend, it's going to be time to head back to the window.
Absolutely. Hey guys, we appreciate you for being here. We appreciate you for hanging out. We'll see you guys next week for a little more fun as we just sit back. We're just counting that extra cash. See you guys.